Hi everyone, I'm Airier, and today we're going to be finishing the Black Pants Legion's TexTalks Battletech, the Hunchback. Last time around, giant freaking guns. This time around, go ahead and take a wild guess here. Giant freaking guns. Yeah, giant mechs, giant guns. It works, and it's probably why I'm here. Because, have I said already, giant freaking guns. It's kind of the thing I'm here for. More importantly, link below, video. Hit it up. Let's get started. Chapter 5, A Modest Hunch. I wonder if that's related to a modest proposal.
As for the average hunchback pilot, well, they're sometimes
Average.
very interesting people in history.
I'm assuming it's because of a significant proportion of mental disorders making them act.
Force the Screaming Eagles mercenary
I'm sorry, they actually have a picture by Sandy Porter, and it has the Gauss rifle that knocks it over. They actually have art of this? Oh, is this something Tex commissioned, or is this actually canon? I don't know, because it's all over the place. Even the tree! It just took the tree out. I mean, at some point, you just put a roll bar on this thing. Legitimately, why didn't they just do a custom roll bar on the back of it?
again pilot.
Yeah, on the other hand, there's something to be said about, hey, we got a mech so powerful, it hurts the people behind it as well. Which is horrible for your allies, but fun for everyone else.
Isoroku Kurita wasn't just a modest Draconis pilot,
No?
but an actual general in the DCMS.
Oh.
He was the first cousin of Theodore Kurita, who would be the future coordinator of the Draconis Combine. He was also a nephew to Takashi Kurita, who was then at that time the current coordinator. Historically described as a warrior monk, Isoroku
Monk? Really?
was derided as a least likely successor in the possible event of both Takashi and Theodore being killed, thus considered unworthy of being invested with significant political power or authority. He was instead sent to military school, where he found there is no shortage of horrific battlefield experiences available to the DCMS on any given front.
What the hell did he get into? I mean, this is Kurita, so probably a lot of horrible things, but a warrior monk related to the people in charge, and they're not trying to get rid of him by putting him in a hunchback. That's initially where I thought this was going, and it still might.
And so in the early years of his career, he was thrown headfirst into war. In those years, he saw at least 30 combat engagements, driving a frontline mech in direct close combat with the enemy. By the time he was made
Of course he was doing hand-to-hand or frontline. It's Kurita. Get over here and let me punch you with my Gauss rifle. Is actually a thing that will happen.
commander of the Zunsheng Academy cadre, he had 22 confirmed personal kills against enemy battle mechs.
Damn.
His machine of choice, the Hunchback, and it kept him alive, which in a military that frequently
Wait, it did? I was expecting the joke to be, and somehow he survived, as opposed to it kept him alive. That's a very different phrasing right there. And somehow survived implies chance luck, obscenely good armor, as opposed to normal where it's obscenely good armor, but people who are just jumping into all the firepower to take advantage of that to the point where it doesn't actually help anymore. So we actually had someone competent from Kurita using an armored mech well. An up-armored mech with a giant-ass gun. It's like the exact opposite of a glass cannon. It's a cement cannon? No, that doesn't work. I'll think of a better term eventually.
expended both the brilliant and the bold at the same time as cannon fodder was remarkable. By 3054, he held the rank of Taisho and was the military commander of the Diran Military District, later appointed to.
I just realized why all this looks familiar. This is the style of helmet they use in Star Wars at this time. Specifically for the Imperials, and there's no way the people in Battletech weren't aware of that when they did that, because major marketing probably happened to make it like, okay, yeah, all the grunts on the Death Star wear these style helmets. We're going to show that they're the bad guys by putting them in these helmets. Even though they're not the bad guys, they're definitely a well-rounded faction. Yeah. Granted, in Star Wars, I think they had those kind of helmets because wasn't it initially based on Seven Samurai? No, it was the Forbidden Fortress, I think is what the initial Star Wars movie was based on. Kurosawa
Warlord
film.
of the same, by Takashi Kirita personally, a strong advocate for finding and then destroying a clan homeworld as an appropriate strategic response to their invasion. Isoroku was a foundational member.
Wait. Oh.
Strategic response to Takashi Kirita personally, a strong advocate for finding and then destroying a clan homeworld as an...
Oh, he was involved in that. Where they actually took the Inner Sphere, got together, formed what I think was basically the second Star League, or the, not the Star League, but the force to go back and say, hey, clanners, fuck you! And then wiped out, I think it was what? Not Jade Falcon, of course. The Snakes. I cannot remember their name off the top of my head. It's like they don't exist anymore.
An appropriate strategic response to their invasion.
Yeah,
Isoroku
it's a very good one.
Foundational member of the Second Star League, which aimed
So he was
to
around the
attempt
Second Star League as well.
Mostly that. Later a capable politician, he served with distinction in successfully coordinating attacks against Avion during the Fedcom Civil War.
Oh.
His machine is a battlefield legend. It is named Murakumi, or Cloud Gatherer. This seemingly serene man, a warrior monk who favored point-blank autocannon slaughter, commanded armies from its simple seat, bringing havoc to the enemies of the dragon for decades of honorable service. Shakir Gerard piloted a Hunchback in the Corps of Sorensen Sabres.
Oh?
Being a frontline street brawler during the Succession Wars was an unfortunate vocation. And Mr. Gerard is indeed a relatable story of the time. He was an adopted orphan who dedicated his life to the state, which he felt he owed so very much.
And considering the Succession Wars, that probably didn't go well.
A steadfast believer in Bushido and utterly loyal to the Combine, he was secretly recruited into the ISF.
What?
His first assignment was to report on the personality of the unit's commander, and unfortunately, in the eyes of the state, the now potentially unreliable Daniel Sorensen. It wasn't anything Sorensen had actually done, mind you, but rather where he was now from.
Oh?
Rasselhag had split off, and he was now very suddenly a dual citizen, serving in the DCMS. A good portion of the Sabres had by then split off to join the founding of the Rasselhag military in order to help protect their newly free homeland. A devoutly loyal man, Sorensen had stayed with the DCMS regardless of the hardships imposed, but the ISF was indeed curious enough to...
Also, wasn't the Sorensen guy in the Rasselhag events when it came to MechWarrior 5? Or am I just getting the name wrong? It sounds familiar. I need to replay that section.
And an infiltrator to ensure what remained of the unit was still reliable to the Dragon's requirements.
Oh.
As that infiltrator, Gerard found Sorensen relatable, likable, and against the odds, and very likely the wants of the ISF, they became friends. Gerard's customized Hunchback served on the front for the duration of his rotation.
A 3 medium laser Hunchback. With, of course, the small laser. I always go for small lasers. I mean, I know less power and it's what you got, but still. And then more lasers down here. But if those are medium, are these large lasers then? Oh, that'd be much more interesting.
With the Sabres, he apparently was a big fan of medium pulse lasers.
Medium
because
pulse,
of the
even.
Hunchback's capability in keeping Mr. Gerard alive, even in extremely hazardous, if not foolish, combat encounters, he would survive to report from his dangerous assignment, and thus, by that virtue, be promoted to Dest. When he was given command of a strike...
Wait, he was promoted to Desk?
That virtue, be promoted to Dest. When he was...
Oh, Dest. I don't know what Dest is then.
Was given command of a strike
His
team,
desk does not sound like a
his unit
promotion.
volunteered for the long journey and near certain death that awaited them by invading clan space in order to take the fight to Clan Smoke Jaguar's home planet.
Oh, is Smoke Jaguar, not the Vipers? Oh, well, that's on me then. Also, so all of this BSing around, and he's one of the guys who went in to take down the entire clan. And by clan, I mean a specific one clan, the Smoke Jaguar. Oh, that's actually really cool.
He survived that as well. Once he returned...
Was really not expecting him to survive. I thought, okay, here's his long and storied history. He goes to fight the clan. specifically just Smoke Jaguar, and he actually survives. Not how I was expecting that to go. Does he become important later?
His resourcefulness and sheer loyalty.
I mean, it's a Hunchback pilot. You never expect them to survive.
Number of purges, and eventually, by merit and skill, he'd become the director of the entire ISF.
Oh.
I feel Mr. Gerard's career is easily one that could have been cut short years earlier with great finality if he had driven any other 50-ton war machine available at that time.
I mean, yeah, it's the Hunchback, man. If you're not absolutely insane, it's really good at punching above its weight class and surviving. If you are insane, it's a really good way to get into more trouble than you can deal with and get blown to smithereens.
But Hunchback pilots are sometimes legend for a reason, even when things go so very wrong. The saga of Sung's Cuirassiers is an interesting study in the history of Hunchback heavy units during the Succession Wars. Formed from the Chesterton Reserves,
I have no idea what this
having the
group is.
remarkable historical distinction of a Capellan unit being completely destroyed many times over, their story of misadventure and attempts at glory are largely reinforced by the mechs they had been given, mostly
Thunderbolts. Yeah, and looks like the head is throwing me off really hard on this, but it's the highly stylized version. Yeah, this is definitely one of the pieces of art text commission. One looks so cool, too. I know this mech. I'm just pulling a blank. It's the one Kerensky used. Wow, I'm actually judging myself on that one.
Thunderbolts and ever-plentiful Hunchbacks. Their story of woe is at best a dark comedy, and more
Also,
a
how do they
testament
get destroyed
to the
multiple
madness
times?
of the pilot corps of Hunchback heavy units than any statement on the inequities of fate. In 2668, a communications breakdown on the part of Capellan intelligence resulted in a milk run turning into a massacre on Xanth 3.
Oh.
The Cuirassiers were unfortunately not made aware of the recent transfer of the Merrick Protectorate Guard, which resulted in precisely what you'd expect.
So they weren't going on just like, hey, we're going here. It's, hey, there's an entire army division going against us because they're putting a guard up. I'm assuming it's a bigger amount. I have no idea how much a division is. I don't do military stuff, which is weird considering it's been mentioned multiple times in these videos.
In short, it was a shooting gallery.
Whoa.
The Cuirassiers had their drop zones quickly.
This is really weird art. My initial thought is just with how the mechs are designed, this is like full-on 70s style, but I'm pretty sure that's older than Battletech, so this has to be something newer. One, because the people don't look nearly as fucked up as older Battletech art looks, because some of it is absolutely just downright insane, going like, hey, you know how 40K sometimes fucks up faces in its models because they literally can't make fine details that small? Well, they're getting better, but for a while it was, disgusting if you actually thought about what that would look like on a full-size human. That was how Battletech humans were drawn. Here, though, this is a very dignified, refined, not over-the-top piece with regular musculature and normal facial proportions. So it's new art. And then you have this in the background going, okay, but what if we tried to do the Metropolis style of art with mechs? And honestly, it looks pretty cool. It's like really old anime, pre-color anime. Oh, dude. It's actually really reminiscent.
By many angry Merrick pilots driving an ocean of Crusaders and Battlemasters into prime murder range
Crusaders,
and
that's the one.
parking it there until the Cuirassiers broke. At the end of the day, only 2 companies of the 3 regiments survived.
3 regiments? Was that 108 mechs per battalion or total? A 3 company, 36 mechs. A lance is 12 mechs. Okay, so that's total. So out of 108 mechs,
survived. It
how
was
many?
Only 2 companies of the 3 regiments.
2 companies. So out of 108, what? 15? No. 24 survived. That's bad numbers. 75%.
Survived. It was in the history of the unit a very bad time, and it would not be the last.
You know what? Yeah. 3 battalions. That is a lot of dead mechs.
A very
lot of
bad
salvage
time. And it would not be the
77.77% attrition rate. Oh, dear God. To give an idea, if you have 10% attrition, that breaks most armies. It destroys morale, and it's something you don't usually see because it removes your effectiveness. 77% is obscene. The fact that they existed after this is actually a testament to their grit, if not their piloting skill. I'm not sure which one that skill is. Is it that they're good or bad? I don't know right now, but damn, was it all Hunchbacks that survived or something?
last. The cuirassiers were then reformed, re-equipped, and pressed back into action. Their luck held for a time, but in 2915, the cuirassiers picked a fight against House Davion by attempting to raid Bristol. The cuirassiers overshot their drop zones and then attempted to rally a response while fighting a local Davion militia, who was by then fairly well organized versus the very sloppy attack.
So it's not, okay, 1, really, the meme face. 2, this entire unit, they're not just bad, they are the local militia overpowered them bad. Is this like the group that was just pulled together of all the cast-offs who they're hoping die, but no one can actually get rid of politically?
And so the cuirassiers were effectively destroyed again. The third time was the charm, as the cuirassiers were again reformed, reforged, and with new mechs put back into the strategic deck.
What mech is this? This is a very different art style than I'm used to seeing. I can't actually recognize a few of these. I think... No, I don't even recognize that one for the arm. And then the head-like aspect, I'd almost say it's a Black Knight, but it looks so different. It's like someone tried to draw Iron Man and then forgot what franchise they were in. That could be... I was going to say a dragon because of the extended center, but no, that doesn't look like it either. I have no idea what almost any of these mechs are.
They managed to prove themselves worthy by taking Messertim from Davion in 2978. But unfortunately, perennially unlucky, they inevitably bit off more than they could chew.
Why are they always reestablished?
During the raid on Ingersoll in 2999, their skies darkened under a cloud of Merrick aerospace fighters, and yet again, remnants of the cuirassiers barely escaped from...
Sorry, this is the one thing I absolutely love. Anything to do with ships. Spaceships, starships, airships, space fighters, air fighters. I don't care about it. This is cool. If it was possible to actually field an army and technically not count as destroying yourself by fielding just airplanes in a Battletech game, I'd do that. It also would be stupid because as soon as they have to fly out of range, unless you're playing an obscenely large one, you would technically lose by having no one left on the board and technically counting as being wiped out. Because, I mean, you can't really play a game if your guys are gone and then it's just over. Might be fun if I just had an Irby in the background and they were just softening it up for that. I think I got a new tactic.
The battlefield, with most of their forces demolished in the Blitz.
Kind of surprised fewer people use air support that much.
Destroyed, and somehow never quite defeated. Sung's cuirassiers fairly sums up the line fighting typical of Hunchback-equipped units.
Throw them into a place where they're going to get massacred.
Despite all of its cursed, disastrous failures, poor leadership, exceptionally bad intel, and the unlucky fate of frequently being at the wrong place at the wrong time with the...
So in other words, you usually put a Hunchback in a place where it's going to be bad, and you don't really care about the outcome. So you get just something that can punch above its weight class and has a ton of armor to make up for everything else being bad. It's literally the stopgap measure mech, isn't it?
Wrong
at least in this case.
The cuirassiers have maintained one of the lowest transfer rates in any of the Capellan armed forces.
Because no one survives long enough to transfer? Because that seems like how you're going on this one.
Across its entire history. Because Hunchback pilots are just like that.
Yeah.
They're frequently willing to take a savage beating. Just for
77% beating.
of delivering one back. Another unit of note to love the Hunchback for what it did best was McCormick's Fusiliers.
Oh?
2 battalions under Colonel Henrietta McCormick formed one of the craziest units, if not the crazy backbone of the
Tex calling something crazy out of all the stuff we've covered already is in its own right moderately terrifying, and I wanted to know more about this.
North Wind Highlanders Mercenary Company.
Oh.
They were special even among the Highlanders, and were the absolute standard of lunatic antics within that organization.
Wait, the Northwind Highlanders, which I've been told is basically an offshoot from the Black Watch, like the Light Horse, and they had antics. I'm sorry, he's building this up right now. Please tell me he doesn't just say they have antics and move on. I want to find out what they did.
For example, they always went into battle with their own bagpipe band.
They did.
Their regimental performers and dance teams were frequently also the mobile hospital surgeons and other support staff, thus also accompanied them into battle. And far worse,
They had the support staff, the doctors, go into battle with them as cheerleaders, essentially. I mean, yeah, sure, if you get hurt, support staff's already there. On the other hand, they're there to die.
they were always somehow in competition with another unit of the Northwind Highlanders, Marion's Highlanders, for most audacious unit. As you can expect,
What?
this sort of match
McCormick's Fusiliers captured a Kurita field command officer, captured a Battletech from the FLW, annihilated several mercenary commands from historical records. Originally known for light mechs until they had their asses handed to them in 2792. Journeyed up to heavier designs disbanded by the CCAF as a result of refusing to raid Merrick space. Oh.
bad competition results in shenanigans. And when 2 mercenary commands with an apparent mercenary unit noted for audacious behavior have a fight over who can be a bit more bold,
Dismantled, resented they were too handy. It has an officer's corps routinely purged for maverick behavior. Upon tapping an enemy, Vintane's vigilantes offer them jobs. When they decline, the Highlanders gunned them down, held ground against the Wolf Dragoons, and fell back anyways. Actually stood ground against the Wolves Dragoons. Oh, so they both fought against the Wolves Dragoons, and they both survived, except these guys fell back. Broke the Lyrian Commonwealth's 3rd Royal Guard and forced them to surrender. Started a brief civil war between the clans to get a ride home out of the periphery. What? Known as audacious problem solvers. To be fair, starting a war in the clans is probably not so hard. A civil war in the clans, which is more than just the usual P fighting. And you know exactly what I mean when I'm saying that. Wow.
well, you end up with Hunchback stories. In
Why?
2834, during the defense of Tikhonov,
Okay, I gotta ask. Is that like a proto-mech or something? I get that's probably Hatchman. That looks like a Black Knight. This is weird. And I have no idea what it is because it seems all over the place. Guns on one side, missile in the center, some kind of nipple tassel. I'm assuming that's missiles in the shoulder. A cannon in the other chest. What?
the Fusiliers had a series of growing engagements with a notorious Davion mercenary unit, Kurgawa's Blood Lances. In 3 days, with many Hunchbacks and a handful of Orions, the Fusiliers decided
Orion,
to go
that's the
hands-on
one.
using combined arms. Because this is the Highlanders we're speaking of, they decided the perfect match for CQB breakthrough Orion and Hunchback operations is goddamn jump infantry. Again, these guys love being crazy.
You know what? I'm not even surprised considering this is post-clans. They would have seen elementals going, hey, well, it's going to be funny. Watch me take this mech. And then tearing things apart. They're like, you know what? We could do that too. And then the crazy-ass motherfuckers did it. I'm not sure they survived, but apparently they tried.
As a result, The Highlanders are the very last entry in the MRBC database for Kagawa's Blood Lances. Disbanded in 2834.
Greetings from McCormick's Fusiliers. Sorry we burned your planet, but you know what you did.
After being completely annihilated in a 3-day campaign of horrific, excessive, point-blank Armageddon. Because to a Hunchback pilot, this machine excels at transforming problems into craters.
Oh my god. Chapter 6, final thoughts.
The Hunchback is a guaranteed turnkey localized Armageddon solution which puts warheads on foreheads and flattens everything in between.
Also, I didn't realize exactly what I was looking at first. Like, it looks like a Hunchback, but it's dual-sided. SRM-6 is most likely. But it seems like the arms... It's a lot of low weapons, but anything that could pump out that many SRMs that fast on double sighting there... Ooh, I kind of like it. I mean, not all the time. Unless you really... If you upgun the engine on this one so it's fast with that much medium range... I mean, I'd still prefer something bigger and heavier, but this is not bad for a swayback.
And further still, it is potentially unkillable, because as old and damaged models are slowly downgraded through campaign attrition and salvage operations, they are frequently Frankenstein back together and sent forward immediately thereafter again to see what works and what explodes with zero loss of enthusiasm. As such, the potential Hunchback stockpiles of an operator never actually dwindle, but only succeed in accidentally producing more terrifying Hunchback variants. As such, the Hunchback is not an instrument designed for ideal or sophisticated war, but rather the grim realities of here and now. It has no multi-mission capabilities unless modified extensively for that purpose at extreme cost. It was not conceived as future-proof, nor was it shackled by the lessons of the past.
And considering all the things he has said about future-proofing and just highlighting how it's a great idea that will never pay off, it's a great for a prototype. For the main model, you should do what the Hunchback did and basically go, okay, here's something that works, and we're good. He actually went into a lot of this in various other videos, like showing initial firearm designs for certain wars that look like they were made in someone's garage versus I think it was the Kalashnikov that was made in someone's garage and looked like a firearm. Also, he did a lot of that during the Warhammer video. But yeah, this is a very straightforward, very simple mech of big gun, big armor, low weight. And if it gets in the way of that, it makes it better, doesn't matter. It doesn't count because they know what they want. Giant gun. And I can really respect that.
It is instead an eternally simple machine with singular purpose. As such, the Hunchback is a plow.
I need to wait for the next episode of this one.
Destroy
Hired steel.
most things in front of it at a speed it determines. And when it stalls out or dies, another will take its place and continue what Lance leaders started. The Hunchback is a bright and shining star in the mech world for a reason. Because it is actually clear of purpose. The Hunchback is as well an enduring reminder that the customer can and will make their own product if the company fails to deliver on what the customer actually wants.
Because it can do whatever you want, because it can take anything.
Operators, the Hunchback is one of those rare machines that isn't too expensive, isn't too pretentious, is never limited in availability, and always scares the living hell out of anyone who faces it.
And just speaking from gameplay experience, it doesn't matter what game, you see a Hunchback, you know it needs to die right away because it will fuck you up. I'm going to include tabletop in that one because, sure, why not? Which is weird because I don't actually think I have a Hunchback. I need to fix that.
The Hunchback reminds us that simple solutions are sometimes the most lasting ones. It is one of the greatest street fighters we ever built. 1 part gun, 2 parts fist, and all-wrecking machine. When the Star League was in its earliest days, the Hunchback
Even the
was
duct tape
born.
holding it on.
When the Star League fell, the Hunchback was battle-tested. When the Succession Wars ended, the Hunchback was a legend. And when the clans invaded, it was ready.
Was that the same Hunchback in each one? Oh, it is. Oh, that's actually really well done. So we got the Star League version with it being new with a slight bit of paint wear. Yeah, it's even got the wear from the previous ones. It just looks a little grittier. And you finally get to this one and it looks beat to hell. You can even see how it's slowly changing the paint job too. They have the first line there. It's highlighted a little further. And this one's just painted over completely. And of course the no Mad Cats, which admittedly is still a really cool mech design for as far as I care.
And when the clans invaded, it was ready. It is a machine that is known and feared by its silhouette alone.
Yep.
It is a mech
It says 50 tons up until it says
that
you did.
while there
Ooh.
are a great
Oh.
many ways to kill, there are few that can do
Damn.
so with overwhelming
Whoa, where'd they get this?
cacophonous style.
So did it just knock out a...
And in that so
Did it just knock out a mech with its own arm? No, a different mech's arm.
style. And in that sense, the Hunchback will turn
Dude.
heads before blowing them clean off. The Hunchback is, without a doubt,
And the mech warrior is going, yeah! And I know we saw this picture already. And then just the ground crew going, fuck you, dude. You just blew the shit out of this thing.
absolute proof that some things cannot be replaced. Only very carefully improved upon.
Sense, yeah. Oh, dude.
Class dismissed.
And now we should use some of the higher steel videos in here that Tex did actually act in, along with a bunch of other content creators. And frankly, I can't wait for the next episode. They have such...
Hey, Discount Dan here. Are you a motoring
no.
enthusiast? Do you want and/or need a car or reasonably car-shaped object? Have your limited finances or the
Sounds
actions of
about
certain
right.
court officials prevented you from acquiring a vehicle or something that could pass for a vehicle?
What the-
Boy, have I got it. Court officials prevented
What
you from a free scrapyard and are proceeding to market it aggressively as anything other than a scrapyard. And that's hurtful. That's so hurtful. So, look at this dog. Look
Puppy.
at this dog. Look at this dog. And you have forgotten what you were complaining about. Just know I will sell
Actually, I did kind of forget what I was about to say, and I was going to say something. He pulled the dog. I was like, puppy! And I lost my train of thought. It did actually work. God damn you.
you this dog. I can acquire this dog for you. I can acquire a dog for you. I can acquire as many dogs by the pound, live or dead, as you need. So come on down.
I hate how much of a good argument that actually stands out for, and I am kind of tempted to buy something from Discount Dan now because it comes with a puppy.
The Discount Dan's Car
Live
Shaped
or
Objects
dead?
and Other
Prefer
Hobby
live.
Machines Emporium. Just drive past the ominous field of spikes, turn right, and head up the hill until you smell equal parts ozone and engine oil. There, you'll find the continent of bargains that is Discount Dan's Car Shaped Objects and Other Hobby Machines Emporium. Just ask my chief mechanic.
Jefe, ¿por qué hay asbesto en los frenos?
Why is there asbestos in the
That's
brakes?
right.
Oh, it's
They're
old.
the Bestos. The Bestos brakes you can buy.
Oh my
Dos
god.
doctorados en ingeniería
Two
mecánica.
doctorates in mechanical
¿Dónde termino
engineering. And
trabajando
where do I end up
como
working? With the clown.
No, we don't have
That last one isn't a joke. That just hurts. Yeah. I'm sure nobody can empathize with the idea of like, hey, I did all this work. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I work for an idiot. It's never something that you ever say. And I don't empathize with that at all. And I'm going to keep telling myself to reduce the pain.
medical, so you need to provide your own doctor at Discount Dan's Car Shaped Objects and Other Hobby Machines Emporium. Also, bring a hammer and some tall boots because the rats ate the pumpkin patch I still acquired for the upcoming Halloween Spooky Fun Time Horror Maze and Industrial Warehouse of Bargain Sale. Toodles!
God.
For cars, there are a lot of choices
a lot of
out
3D
there.
aspect on this one.
And then there's this.
Is it going to blow up?
Meet Buhalian Military Products Rotunda.
What?
The Rotunda is 20 tons of
like a
miserable
Subaru.
excuses masquerading as a car-shaped object.
What?
It's a hard vehicle to define as so few remain outside of the hands of a certain militarized phone company, but if there was a Venn diagram for the intersection
It's a
of
Comstar
malaise,
car.
hyperbole, and graft, at the very center, there would be the rotunda sitting there, awkwardly waiting for you to discover how incredibly underwhelming it is. When new, these things were just shy of 500,000 C-bills. And nowadays, their sculpted exterior is a reminder that the Star League frequently bought anything, even remotely promising, sight unseen.
Features professional-grade Star League door handle alignment. Yeah, the Star League bought a lot of things. Some of it was great. Some of it was cutting edge. A lot of it was graft and shit, and in no way, shape, or form reminiscent of reality.
As such, it stands, or rather sits, as a symbol of excess and underwhelming engineering masquerading as a sophisticated platform for, well, no one really knows exactly.
Yeah.
The Rotunda is a 20-ton car resting on the hardest tires known to man,
Is that
with
good
a
or bad?
dodgy suspension and horrific
Bad.
maintenance issues plaguing
Owner had to change the tire 6 times in one day. Oh my God.
early models. Even with those issues seemingly addressed by later production runs, it possesses all of the handling and grace of a drunk hockey player trying to climb an escalator in full kit. It doesn't look like much, and that's because it really isn't. While it does have 4 doors for more horrors, it was only ever designed for a
Really?
single occupant. In what passed for meager
single?
luxury, the Rotunda is equipped with a tiny fusion engine, and as such has a
can't
theoretically
even start
unlimited
this
range. That is, if other issues don't make you abandon it after it breaks down. It boasts cooking and sleeping spaces for extended patrols, though I cannot fathom who would
I have to actually think of what are they doing here? Like, what was the entire basis around this? Hey, make a car commercial for a car so underwhelming, it's a gremlin. I'll be honest, I keep looking at this and I just keep thinking it looks like some of the modern cars out there. I've seen this chassis on the road before, and I know that. And it does look underwhelming. Also, I just love how I just realized these are put right up where you can never see them from the driver's seat. And they didn't actually put in any driver's seats on the inside. Oh, jeez.
drive a sedan into a war zone and expect no one to start shooting at it. And if they do, well, then you're going to be in trouble. The 20-ton Recon 4-door has only a single ton of paper-thin armor, and its
Why?
speed of 146 kilometers an hour seems good for Recon, but again, it's a car. It lacks enough ground clearance to comfortably tackle parking lot speed bumps, let alone support the idea of all-terrain
They
reconnaissance.
just had fun with just the new
Good luck
animation
trying
styles.
to creep into position for adequate observation or scouting
Stealth.
with one of the biggest cars ever made. For offense, or rather pretending to participate in battle, it has
Armor, Mercury Weave, Fusion, 164 kilometers. 500 Has a large laser and SRM. Intended purpose, graft.
a laser. A large laser at
Don't
that,
tell me
but
this is
without
actually a
turrets
model
or
in
sophisticated
Battletech.
tracking systems.
Don't tell me it actually
that
is.
means that the driver
Also, I
must
kinda want to
orient
make it
the
one now because
car
it's stupid.
toward the target in order to engage, which more or less dispels any idea that it's an unobtrusive ground vehicle. It also has SRM launchers just beneath the headlights, which I can get behind, but only for blasting roadhogs. As the Dairon plant
Yeah,
was
no, that's
raised
not a
in
bad idea.
2776 during the Secession Wars, thankfully very few rotundas remain. Fewer by the year, as their less than stellar reputation made them undesirable to collect even as oddities, and so their poor engineering resulted in near extinction. Which rotunda is best rotunda? None of them. None of them is best. Best does not exist in this vehicle. There is only compromise and disappointment. As on a long enough timeline,
so the
everything
other
gets an
one.
LS swap, and alternative weapons loadouts or different exterior body
Even
kits
more
do exist to
graft.
make people think the rotunda isn't
Max
a
speed
rotunda,
doesn't
but
run.
it will always just be that, the rotunda. Largely extinct, the rotunda is lasting proof that the Star League had
Another
more problems than most let on. It is incapable of its designated
Who doesn't
tasks,
even
and
care?
further, it even fails as a civilian vehicle. To what the Baron was for warships, the rotunda is for light vehicles.
I'm wondering if they're actually talking about a specific car brand that they just can't stand, or if this is just a joke about something that's actually in Battletech. I don't know which way this is going to go, because frankly, I could see either one being applicable right now. or them screwing around with people and saying, yeah, it's definitely this specific car brand. And admittedly, I would find that funny. So, yeah, sure, why not?
A watchword. And a reminder that just because old empires were powerful doesn't mean they were always smart.
Yeah,
For the price of a
barely that
rotunda,
one.
even when new, you could buy a handful of cheap tanks and have enough money left over to throw a party to celebrate that you
because it's
didn't
so
buy a
expensive.
rotunda. Big, ugly, and in any body kit configuration, equally useless. The rotunda is to cars as
has a
Cincinnati
stupid
chili is to the
smiley
world
face.
of cuisine.
I love it.
The rotunda is a lady's bra. It is adjacent to good things, but largely in the way of them. The rotunda is a statement on what happens when you let engineers do whatever they want without asking why first.
See, that's not entirely true. There's not nearly as many complicated things on here. And there's not a flamethrower. I don't know why, but every time I see flamethrowers, I'm thinking, okay, an engineer did this. It's probably based on family members who became engineers. Chemical, not mechanical. But for some reason, the flamethrower thing stays through, and I don't want to ask. It probably will include admitting to a crime if they ever gave details, and I would like to avoid that.
It's a reminder that we can do better, if only in principle.
Wir fahren nun fort mit dem neuesten
The latest
Arbeitssicherheitsspäter.
Workplace Safety Scout
Lesen
Squad.
Sie diesen
Enjoy this workplace industrial
Industrie-Arbeitsplatz-Motivationsfilm.
motivational film.
I sure like working in the foundry. Even though I don't speak a lick of Germanese, these guys have been really super cool.
Nicht am Geländer.
Do not lean on the
I'm gonna
rail.
lean on this rail.
Dead.
Arbeitsunfälle kommen
Workplace
häufiger
accidents are
vor,
more
als man
common than
glaubt
you
und
think.
können häufig auf mangelnden
It may
Schlaf,
often be a result of
unzureichende
lack of sleep,
Vorbereitung
adequate
oder
preparation, or
eines
nutrition
nahen Frühstücks
breakfast.
zurückzuführen sein. Bitte stellen Sie sicher, dass Sie
Please
sich
ensure
vorbereiten, bevor Sie
you're
zur
going
Arbeit
to
kommen,
work. It's a
da
freaking
Unfälle
fire
wie in der
furnace.
Gießerei
What?
Feuertod
There's
umkommen
like
dazu
brain
führen,
death in the
dass
alloy
Sie die
foundry means we have to
Fertigungsfeuerwerke
throw the
müssen,
batch out,
das
and that is
Erdfeuer.
very
Danke.
expensive.
Denken
Thank
Sie
you.
daran, Waffen stellen
Weapons
sich
don't make
nicht
themselves,
unter
and
der
violence is
Gewalt
half
ist
the
die halbe
battle.
Sache.
You cannot say that. What do you mean? That television show said that. I said it. I'm on TV. Knowing is half the battle. That is a saying from the TV show. Who would say that? Who says these things? Who thinks that violence is not a large portion of the battle? Do not ship us. The ammunition counter is not for books. We don't use reason to turn people into crazy. We use weapons. It is true. I mean, knowing is not explosion of battles. Let's tear this place apart. Successful scouting. Brought to you by the Steiner Development Fund. If it ain't Graft, it ain't
On
Steiner.
Solaris,
Oh,
where the
that's more
streets
Star
run
Wars.
bright with promise and
Ooh.
red with blood. The Inner Sphere
Murder
fights
mystery?
its latest threat.
Hello? Who's there? Hello?
Murder Irby.
Who's there?
That's a lot of guns. Irby gang.
Duncan Fisher is Duncan Fisher in Solaris Piranha.
I've seen these marks before. It's a machine gun. Machine guns do this. They leave lots of little holes.
Just random elemental.
Totally a machine gun.
Starring Ilana Magnuson as the chief of police.
I
Oh.
am indeed the law enforcement representative of this planet. Duncan Fisher, you are a loose cannon, incapable of basic paperwork. I shall require your identification and sidearm should you not correct your whimsical ways.
They're doing Dirty Harry, aren't they? Except it's just so stupid. I love this.
Solaris Piranha. With all the mech expert action you expect out of Duncan Fisher.
It's a clanner. They're engineered to not have feelings.
That is a misconception. I enjoy a great many poetic works, which I find very moving.
Yeah, but you got corrupted by our awesome culture.
I am in philosophy a warden, which means you are speaking from ignorance or reinforcing misconceptions. Shall I fight you now?
Can Duncan Fisher and a clanner save Solaris from a piranha?
I am in this film because I was promised a chance to punch Duncan Fisher in the face as hard as I could.
I mean, there are worse reasons to take film options or any job. So yeah, why not, lady? Also, I don't know why, but this entire setup hits me as kind of sus. That doesn't involve a couch.
Suffering every dishonor, I have prepared for this event for the last 18 months of my life. It has steeled my purpose. I shall land a blow upon his face, which may remove parts of his memory forever, Kerensky willing. This I pledge.
What?
Do you refuse my batal?
It's afraid.
You profess they have no feelings.
I mean, it's out of ammo. Look, I'm on TV. I only have to be right some of the time. Have you seen my ratings? I could punch babies. I'm Duncan Fisher.
This is unfortunately true based upon the evidence I have seen. Your culture has negatively reinforced the temporary popularity of the individual above all other meanings.
Shot on location on Solaris 7, with all stunts done in the periphery for insurance purposes. Solaris Piranha.
This time, it's personal. Was that good? I mean, that sounds overused.
Yes.
Let me try again. This time, murder is tiny. It is tiny. It's a little mech. No? Okay. This time, murder is one mech. Oh, that's good. One mech,
It's better.
one murder.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's actually good.
Hey, script people. How did a single clanner mech get to Solaris and start killing people anyhow? Doesn't make sense. What do you mean, shut up? Your writers suck. If I wrote this movie, I'd just do badass karate the whole time. Do I know karate? Look, my hero...
Huh. Please tell me he says his hero is Jean-Claude Van Damme. That would make so much funny jokes right now. They would just be perfect.
Hero is Rudy Ray Moore, and I'm just gonna say
I actually don't know him.
Duncan Fisher is my name, and fucking up motherfuckers is my game. Yeah.
Okay, that's actually...
TLDR, we have too many nukes. Let's do something about it. Two birds, one stone, right? Also, what ice cream we making this year?
Airier for inevitably
leaning
pausing here on his reactions. Am I that? Okay, never mind. I know I am that bad. Fuck. Okay, now I'm blushing.
Chocolate, because, I mean, it's chocolate. I'll be bringing bourbon pecan pie. So,
I even paused when they
what
said
the rest of the
pause.
guys are
Oh
up
my
to?
god, they got me
Thanks.
trained.
And think on the nuke.
End of messages.
Oh, if you guys haven't hit them up, go do that. They're Patreon. Ooh, and also click this link. That's a really good one. Okay, so I might be blushing a bit because I wasn't expecting to get a shout out at the end of the episode. For Black Pants Legion at Tex. I was going to say Black Pants Legion, everyone in Tex for a second there, but wow. Wow. Thank you. That's actually really cool. Normally this is where I just talk about stuff, but frankly, I'm kind of just mind blown for the second. Because one, that was hilarious. Two, everything there was fun. I love going through all the details of the different crazy ass pilots and how some of them survived to do really crazy things. And the one Legion that really didn't survive and somehow kept coming back, and they're insane because they stayed there despite 77% attrition rate. I mean, it was one battle, but it happened. But yeah, Tex, thanks. Mike, the editor, if you were the one who put that in, thanks. For everyone else who might have had any part of that, thanks. I don't really care because frankly, I'm just over the moon right now. That's so freaking cool. For everyone who did this is a great video. Thanks just for that on its own right. For everyone watching right now, if you haven't already, there's a link below to the original video. Definitely go leave a like for the very important pausing ability that they definitely didn't realize I would pause right there on, and it's not like they put a joke about that accurately made me pause because, yeah, they know me at this point. I'm having a geek out. I'm aware. Again, link below, hit it up. Can't wait for the next one, whenever that comes out, and I don't actually know what the next one's going to be. I think someone mentioned something, but I don't know if it actually is the Thunderbolt or not. Frankly, I don't care. As long as it's funny, I'll like it. Hell, as long as it's interesting, I'll like it. Ooh, or if it's another TexTalks history, that was really painful, actually, because Dr. Christmas was a son of a bitch. But it was interesting, despite it being painful to hear about just how fucked up that was. Fun video, though. There's probably going to be a link to it in the initial video, so there's a link below with another link on it that you should click both of. Do that. And I'm just going to go geek out to my wife because that was really cool. And I'll see you guys next time. Adios.